Hello, I'm Claudio, Cloud Support Engineer and EC2 Windows SME here at AWS office in Sydney. Today, I'm gonna show you how to retrieve the administrator password when you receive the password is not available error message. Let's get started. If you're still receiving this error after the 4 minutes wait, then verify whether you already manually configured the local administrator account password. EC2 Launch for Windows 2016 and later and EC2 Config for Windows 2012 and earlier are responsible for randomly generating and sending the password to the AWS Management Console. By default, EC2 Windows instances that are launched from a public Amazon Machine Image or AMI are configured to automatically run these tasks. If you launch an instance from your own generated AMI, then you must manually run these tasks. Otherwise, the password will be the same as the original system's password. Let me show you how to configure EC2 Launch or EC2 Config. Note, in this first scenario, we already have access to the original password. First, the procedure requires a system restart. So, if you are using a public IP address that is an unelastic IP address, then when you stop and start the instance, a different public IP address will be assigned to your instance. To use the Amazon EC2 console, open the console, then use RDP to connect to your Windows instance. From the Windows Start menu, enter EC2. Choose either EC2 Launch settings for Windows 2016 and later, or EC2 Config Service settings for Windows 2012 and earlier. For administrator password, choose Random. Next, choose Shutdown without sysprep. When you use Shutdown with sysprep, sysprep removes unique information to standardize your AMI. This allows you to launch multiple copies of your instances. Note that when you use sysprep for an instance that is domain joined, sysprep removes the instance from the domain, so do not select this option in your production environment. Now I'll open the Amazon EC2 console and then select the instance. Make sure to wait until the instance is in the fully stopped status. Next, I'm going to create my AMI. Every instance that I will launch from this AMI will invoke EC2 Launch or EC2 Config. Choose Actions, Image and Templates, and then Create Image. For image name, enter an image name. For image description, enter an image description. If needed, you can specify different settings or add a tag. Then choose Create Image. You can now start the instance. After a few minutes, you can then decrypt the password with your key pair. All EC2 instances that launch from this new AMI will decrypt the password with a key pair. Now I use Windows PowerShell for the same procedure. Use this procedure only for EC2 Launch and on Windows 2016 and 2019. Connect to your EC2 instance. Open Windows PowerShell with administrative permissions. Run the following command. Then, stop the instance and create the AMI. The script runs only once during the next boot. It then inactivates the tasks so they don't run in the future, unless you manually invoke them. Let's see now a second scenario, where there is no access to the original password. In this case, we assume that your instance is managed by AWS System Manager or SSM. Open the EC2 console. Select your instance and click on Connect. From the Session Managers tab, click again on Connect. This will open a new web browser tab with a PowerShell local session to your instance. Type the following command: net space user space administrator followed by your new password. You can now use the newly created password to connect to your instance using RDP. Note, it is a best practice to change the administrator password from the default generated one to your own password. If there is still a need to have a default generated password using your key pair, you can now go back to the first scenarios. So now you know how to retrieve the administrator password when you receive the "password is not available yet" error message. Thanks for watching and happy cloud computing from all of us here at AWS.